Hello, welcome to the Roundhouse podcast with Paul Solentrop of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. Thanks so much for listening. Our guests today are softball players Lauren Lucas, plays outfield for the Shockers, and infielder Cam Compton. Both are seniors/graduate students. They were sidelined by injuries in 2024, and they are back on the field this fall. Lauren Lucas is from Little Elm, Texas. She earned Softball America third-team All-American honors in 2023 after driving in 62 runs, the second most in Shocker history. Cam Compton is from Riverton, Kansas, and she's going to give us the lowdown on Southeast Kansas dining places later in the podcast. Both of them are regulars on the all-academic teams for their sport. Lauren, you spoke at the groundbreaking for the indoor practice facility earlier this month at Wilkins Stadium. It's supposed to open in the spring, so both of you will hopefully get a few months working in it. Project like that, why is it important to the current team?
Oh, I can't speak enough on this project. I think it's a great thing for, not only the current team that's going to get to see a little bit of the new indoor, but for years to come, there's freshmen that are hopefully going to get to enjoy all of the renovations. And since Cam and I got here, it's been a work in progress. And so it's really exciting to see it actually, like, the ground be breaking. And actually at hitting yesterday, they were doing a ton of construction, and it was really exciting to see them just get started. And so I'm excited to get into the indoor, but I'm really excited for the girls that are a little bit younger to get to hopefully get all of the operations facility.
So, Cam, there seems to be a real sense of, pride and realization on this team that this isn't just a big deal for softball. It's a statement about women's sports and all that. Tell me about that from your perspective. What's it like to be involved in this?
Yeah, it's huge. Like Lo said, we've been here 5 years. We've seen a lot of the happenings. We worked for it, and I think just knowing that there's been so many women that have put in the time before us to get us here, and then knowing that we've put in many years here, a lot of hard work, and I know that the girls in the program are going to continue to show that effort and work to continue and grow the game. And I think this is an amazing resource for that to happen. So it's pretty exciting.
So let's get to fall workouts. The Shockers have played 4 scrimmages, right? 2 doubleheaders. They go to Kansas on Friday, and then Emporia State comes in town Sunday at 1 p.m. to play a scrimmage. Cam, what have you learned about the Shockers to this point?
To know the Shockers, I think that we're a lot of hard workers, and I think we show that on and off the field. I think we do have a lot of work to do, but we have a great team with a lot of motivation to get to the postseason. I think last year wasn't how we wanted it to end, and yes, me and Lo were on the sidelines, but we felt the same hurt, and we had the same drive to get back to that postseason run, and I think we have the team to do it.
So, Lauren, last go-round with the Shockers this fall and this spring. How do you approach this fall knowing it's it's the last time to go through all this?
Very grateful. It's weird because it's early on for me to already be feeling sentimental, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, this is one of the last times I get up and go to practice, or I get to get up and go lift at 7 a.m. And it's really easy to be like, I can't wait until this fall is over. But for me, it's kind of soaking in every moment because, one day I won't get to do this, and this is the greatest blessing to me. And I think that a lot of people who have come through this program would say the same thing, that to really drag it out as long as you can.
So every year in college athletics, you're always transitioning, people coming, people going. This season, maybe, at least to me, feels like significant. We've lost so many of the prominent names that have really made this a really great era of Shocker softball. You two are veterans. Cam, what's your role in shaping and in leading this team?
Right, I've had several different roles throughout my career here, and I think each one has shown me that whether I'm playing or not, I can be a good teammate, and I can push the person next to me. And I think seeing the field from a different perspective 2 of the years, I've been able to grow individually and know that, again, having someone there to always push you and bring out confidence in you and just be a good leader and lead by example. I think, again, regardless where I am on the field this year, I hope that I can be a good teammate and that we can all just push each other and work to be the best version of ourselves.
Lauren, can you prepare for this over the last spring, last summer? You could see this coming up where you were going to be one of the older voices on this team. Do you prepare? How have you approached this part of your career?
Kind of like Cam said, the role that we took last year was obviously a little different, and I was able to kind of watch the leaders that were a little bit older than me and, kind of take from what they did and, see what worked best. And I think Cam and I have both, tried to lead in different ways, whether it be vocally or by example. And, sometimes one works better for somebody and the other works better for someone else. And so it's just about getting to know your teammates and knowing what leadership style they're going to respond to best and doing your best to fill that.
So you were both deputized by assistant coach Elizabeth Economan. She kind of used you as coaches last spring. You were in the batting cages, watching as people prepared, passing out tips and advice. Cam, how did that experience help?
I think it's important to know that someone always has a role to play on the team. And so for me, like Lo said, it's just getting a different perspective and just knowing that you can always be doing something to better the team. And I think that's something, it's hard to learn in the beginning because you want to be out there so bad, but there's always something to learn. And I think I grew so much in that, and we both grew so much in that, and we're ready to show, what we learned from that perspective and put it on the field.
Yeah, we so often hear sitting out with an injury was not great, but I was able to watch and learn something. Cam, did you learn anything about your own game that was helpful?
Yeah, through that time, like I said, it's tough, but you learn so much mentally and you get so much stronger mentally, and then while you're working to get back physically. So you just, you learn that every day is a new opportunity to get better in some type of way. I think through that time I was able to work more on the mental side of things and just seeing, it's a game, and I was able to watch my teammates go out there and have fun and watch them succeed, and I think that brought more confidence for my return and for our return, and I'm super excited to see how that plays out.
Lauren, what did you learn by helping others last spring?
Oh, so much.
Mm-hmm.
Coach E is a great mentor, and she did a great job of making sure that we felt like we had a role and we had a say in what was going on. And, while we couldn't necessarily be a really big piece of the puzzle, it was really fun for us to at least get a front row seat and to feel, utilized. Like, we're not worthless just because we were injured. And so it was really nice to have Coach E really use us to the best of her ability, and hopefully we made her life a little bit easier that year. And I think about the South Carolina game when Coach B got ejected, and Coach E handed us all of her hitting stuff, and she goes, "Okay, I have to go coach third base. You guys are the hitting coaches now." And that was kind of, fun and funny. And while it was a little stressful because Coach B had gotten tossed, or was that Auburn? Either way, that was a good time for us because we were like, oh, she really believes in us. And that was very early on in the season, before we had really even given too much of an input. And she was like, okay, it's you guys. And that was just really cool.
She is obviously, Elizabeth Economan, had a lot of success as a hitting coach. We hear a lot about how well she works with the hitters. Did you learn anything about her techniques or why she has been so good?
I think that I will always say that Coach E is the best of the best because she doesn't try to change anyone. She tries to find your strengths and make your strengths better while also making your weaknesses better. But she's not trying to mold you into a cookie cutter version of a hitter that she wants to see. She's trying to make you the best version of yourself.
Cam, how about you? Did you observe anything about Elizabeth Economan that gives people a little insight into her strategies?
I agree wholeheartedly with what Lo said, and I think she also puts in so much work behind scenes that no one truly sees until you're in the offices or not on the field during practices, and you can see just how much she does to provide us with as much information on that next pitcher, the next, whatever we need to take on that next week or that next conference series or whatever it may be. She has us prepared in every way, and it's amazing to see just how much she gives to us every single day.
So working as an assistant coach helped you last season. How else do you stay positive when you're injured? Cam, what did you have techniques, friends, teammates who really help you keep going?
Yeah, it is really important to lean on your teammates. I'm also very religious, so I stuck to the good Lord and prayed to Him a lot just about giving me the strength to get through the bad days. But good and bad, you have those teammates that give you a smile when you need one, or give you a comment of, Cam, can't wait to see you back, or Lo, can't wait to be back on the field with you. And we'd kind of talk about that. We've been playing together since we were 14, and so just knowing that regardless of what we were going through, we knew there was going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And here we are, finally, healthy and ready to go.
Lauren, how did you keep things as positive as possible, I guess, last spring?
I think that I have to kind of talk about my family here. My parents were fantastic in making sure that they were at everything that they could be at, even though they knew that there was absolutely no chance I was going to get on the field. They made all the trips that they could make and made sure that they were, visible for when I needed somebody to look to. And not only that, but like going through the process with Cam, I knew I was never alone. I knew I always had somebody that, was probably having as bad of a day as me. But we were both looking forward to, like Cam said, that light at the end of the tunnel, and we're here. What's
been the hardest part of your game to kind of recover?
For me, it's playing catch. Like throwing is not, doesn't come with as much ease as it used to. But that's just something that's gonna continue to take time, and I think that it's something that the staff is working towards. What's the best way to help her, and I every time we throw, and I'm still very cautious and careful with my arm, and so I think throwing is the biggest stepping stone that I'm going to have to, kind of overcome.
Cam, how about you?
I'm no speed demon, but I will say that it's been a challenge to run the bases and just, let go on the bases. I think it can be hard. Some days my legs aren't there, and I'm trying to get in the training room and do everything I can to get to the end and crawl to the end if I have to. But it's just about really taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, your body's not going to feel great when you put yourself through so much. But it's truly about just, one foot in front of the other. And that's what I'm thinking when I'm on the bases.
So to be clear for the listeners, so Cam, you had shoulder and knee injuries over your time here. You've started 50 games over your 3 seasons here. What kept you going with softball? Why stick with it?
I think it's truly just the love for the game. You grow up playing, you do everything all your life. You put in so much time. Your family puts in so much time and effort. And my mom has taken me all over the country to watch me do what I love. And yes, there's obstacles you have to face. There's challenges that feel like you can't, get over. But I think really it's just about me wanting to find the love of the game again through all the challenges, and knowing that it's there, it's still there. And I know that my teammates believe in me and I believe in myself, and really just, having fun, ending on a good note, and, it's just something you want so bad.
So I'm hearing good things about Ellee Eck, who is a outfielder. I guess she may be in the outfield with Lauren Lucas from Andale High School, transferred in from Stanford. Tell the fans a little bit about Ellee. What kind of impression is she making?
Ellie, I think, is going to have the CC effect, where we're like, oh, I wish we had her one more year, or I wish she could have been here for longer. I think she's going to be like sneaky power. Like, she doesn't look like she would put up the power numbers that I think she will, but very strong, very good contact. She's really fast. I joke all the time about I'd like to see her and Addie B race, just because they're both the fastest people I've ever seen in my life. And so I'd like to see them in a foot race just for my own personal entertainment. But I think Ellie's going to be a really big piece of the puzzle this year. And I think I'm really, really excited to see, what it looks like for her this year.
To remind people, CeCe Wong played for the Shockers last year, 1 year, transfer from Grand Canyon. I think ended up second nationally in batting average, so had quite a one-season career. Cam, how about you? What stood out about Ellee Eck?
I agree. Ellie's a great human, a great player, great teammate, and I'm super excited. She puts in the work. She's fun to work with, whether that be in the weight room or on the field. And she's just a great person to be around. She's always motivating you, and one of those lead by example type of people. There's not one time I looked at her and thought, man, she could, be doing something better or different. Like, she's really there to give all she has, and I can just see that it's going to be a great year for her just by who she is and what she does.
I've also heard good things about a freshman pitcher, Ava Sliger. Cam, what's it like hitting against Ava?
Actually, I have not faced Ava yet, but I do enjoy being on the field with her. She's a competitor, and I really loved her first outing. She just went out there and shoved it. I mean, she did, and she had the confidence. Whether she felt that inside or not, I'm not sure, but she showed it. It seemed that she showed it anyway, and that really helped her succeed, and I'm really excited to see, how her season goes, how her career goes. She's a great person as well, and I love being around her.
Lauren, what's your impressions of Ava?
I actually have known Ava for quite a while, because I coached 16U softball a couple summers ago, and my 16U team played her, and she was already committed to Wichita State, so I kind of knew about her, and my poor team could not figure it out, and my team was very good, and And so that just, I was like, wow, I just can't wait till she gets here. Like, if she's this good in 16U, like, I can't wait until she gets up here. And then, like Cam said, her first outing, she just had a fantastic, confident presence. Like, she was just going to throw strikes and going to be as efficient as possible. And she was going to compete no matter who came to the plate. And she's the same way in practice. She's going to hit her spots to the best of her ability. And you can, whether there's fear there or not, we don't notice it. We don't see it. And so she's got a veteran presence, in my opinion.
So Cam, coaches describe you as someone to whom details matter. You've been mature from the day you walked in the door over there. How did you build that personality?
Well, it started when I was younger. I mean, I had sisters, older sisters, that were great examples of how to be a good leader and how to do the little things. And I mean, my sister Taylor, she also went on to play college softball, but every single day she was out in the yard putting in the work. And believe it or not, we live on a farm and have hay bales out in our yard, and that's what our backstop was. And so she didn't need my mom to gear up in her leg guards like she would at every camp. She would go out there and throw into the hay bales, and it didn't matter if she was tired or got home from a long day at school, practice, whatever it may have been. She was always putting in the work, and so I really learned from that and just knew that, you know, you'll get out what you put in. And so I just kind of stuck to that and just knowing that little things do matter, and leading by that example, whether I'm hurt or healthy on the field or not, I think matters. And so I'll always try and do my best in that area.
So both of you come from athletic families. You've got siblings that played college sports. Cam, do you have any good stories about competition over a game night, anything like that would be fun to talk about?
Competition-wise, me and Taylor were actually able to play each other here when I was at Wichita State and she was at Pitt State. She couldn't get the nerve to throw a strike to me, so I ended up walking, but I tried to hit one out on her. But it was pretty fun. We got to play state together, me, Jamie, and Taylor, so 3 of us were on the same team, and we won state that year, which was a great memory to have and hold on to. Always a lot of fun competition, you know, the sister fights. Me and my little sister also played volleyball together, basketball together, and so, you know, you have that little competitive edge, and while you want to compete with them when you're at practice and, you know, like show them who's older or who's better, whatever, it's always just like, you know, you also want the best for them. And so it's just fun to grow up in that competitive manner and knowing that they'll always support you and you'll always support them regardless.
Lauren, growing up in that kind of family, how did that shape you and get you to where you are?
I didn't even want to play softball. My parents made me because they met playing softball, and my dad played college baseball. And so, you know, when I finally got into softball and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun, that was right around the time that my older sister and my older brother were playing softball and baseball. And I was like, oh, okay, I can use it. Like, they're quite a bit older than me. So I was like, oh, I can use this to, like, hang out with them and we can play catch. And but for me, it was the funniest moment we had was when I got into high school. My sister had set all of the pitching records. I had to pitch in high school. My sister had set all of the pitching records when she was there, and she went off to play at Bethel, which is just 30 minutes north of here. And when I got there, she was like, oh, you're going to break all of my records. And I think I broke most of them, but not all of them. So, like, she's still in there somewhere. And so that was just kind of a funny, like, joke we'd have between each other. She's like, oh, you broke another one, like, but she's been a really big supporter of me and my career the entire time. And so you know, not only are we each other's biggest competitors, but we're each other's biggest supporters. And you know, I was lucky enough to have a dad who had been through college baseball and been through all of it and kind of knew what my path would look like and has guided me every step of the way.
So Cam, Riverton, Southeast Kansas, part of the state that is famous for fried chicken, so we're going to ask you for your restaurant recommendations. People are probably familiar with Chicken Mary's, Chicken Annie's. For someone who travels through Southeast Kansas, what's your advice? What's your go-to place for meal?
Yeah, so we always had Chicken Annie's catered for our athletic events at Riverton. I don't know if that was because of their amazing fried chicken or because that was really the only restaurant around that catered since we're such a small town. But that was the answer there. On another note, Nelson's Old Riverton store is one of my faves. It's actually funny because, you know, when you grow up in a small town, you're like, do I just love it because it's all I know, or is it actually good? But I've had several friends come through and I'm like, all right, you have to try it. And they always tell me it's amazing. So I don't think it's that, but you have to give it a try.
Give us the name again.
Nelson's Old Riverton store on Route 66.
Route 66. What is your go-to order when you roll in there for lunch?
Oh, so I'm very basic when it comes to sandwiches, but I get the white bread, turkey, American cheese, and a little bit of mayonnaise sometimes. And then they always have the biggest bag of chips, and you can get really good soda. I don't drink soda, but they have a lot of good soda out of the machine, and everyone says it's the best. So.
Okay, a special Riverton recipe for soda. That sounds like it's worth
Yep.
checking out. Both of you are very, very good students. Lauren, why?
Well, I picked a major that was kind of piqued my interest the most. Growing up, people are like, oh, I like math the best. Oh, I like science the best. And I liked recess. Like, I liked sports. And so I majored in sport management, got my degree in sport management. And that's just what I've been passionate about ever since I was a kid, is just sports in any shape or form. And so I think for me, I picked to be educated in an area that I'm passionate in. And so that makes it really easy to work hard at it.
And what are your plans for sport management after you're done at Wichita State?
I would like to coach. So hopefully, if there's any opportunities around here, I'll stick around here. But if not, I'll have to pack up and move somewhere, and hopefully somebody will take a chance on a younger coach.
College, high school, have you thought about that?
I think I prefer college just because I want to be Coach E when I grow up. And so that makes the most sense in my brain. But I'm definitely open to high school as well because, really just any age where they're already kind of developed enough. Like, I think the little kid age is what would stress me out.
So success will look like when you have enough familiar mannerisms that they make a video of all your sayings, and then you will know you've hit the heights.
I've made it. Yep.
Yes, that video of Elizabeth Economan, one of my favorite things about Shocker softball over the last few years. Cam, tell us about your academic pursuits.
I think I finally found my passion. I've always wanted to go the healthcare route, but the older I got, the more I realized that I was not here for the blood and needles, and so I finally found a career in healthcare administration, and which I really enjoyed, and I really just wanted to learn more about. Both of my parents have careers in the medical field, and so that's kind of where I got my motivation to go that route. But knowing that I can make a big difference in the healthcare field somewhere, not necessarily on the clinical side, it's fun, and it's interesting to know how much there is to do in that field and how much work there is to be done. And so I'm just excited to learn more about it and eventually find my place in my career.
So you were both in the locker room with a lot of freshmen running around. They probably are saying things that you don't know where they got them, listening to different music, all those kind of things that seem to naturally happen on a college athletic team. Lauren, what's your advice to a freshman who's just getting started in all this?
Oh, put your head down and go to work. That is my biggest advice to anyone everywhere. I think that the greatest thing I ever did for myself was invest my time in myself, and so I think that my biggest piece of advice to freshmen that are just getting started is to work your butt off because it will pay dividends.
Cam, how about you? What's your advice for the youngsters on the team?
I would say it's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. There's going to be days where you feel like giving in, but just keep going and not just, halfway doing things. Go all in. It's going to be rewarding in the end, whether that's with awards and accolades or that's just coming out a stronger person. You're going to get there, and I think, like I said, just keep going.
So, Cam, if you were to go back to Riverton High School and talk to maybe a freshman or sophomore who's just kind of getting started, I want to play college athletics, what advice would you give that person?
Go all into that as well. I think things have definitely changed since I've been in high school. The recruiting process is much different, but I would say that you're going to stick out if you're giving your all and working hard and showing your spunk on the field. And I assume communication is just as big of a deal now as it was. And so just putting yourself out there and betting on yourself, I think that's huge. And if you put in the work, you're going to get something out of it. And so just work hard and bet on yourself.
Lauren, what's your advice for a high schooler choosing a college, starting to navigate this whole process?
I think that sometimes college athletics is a dream, and it's so exciting, and it's something you've been working towards, but people don't necessarily always realize the time commitment. And so I think that I would be very logical in my advice, and I would just say, remember that your days and nights are consumed with this sport. Like, yes, you're a student as well, and that's really important, but you need to understand the time commitment, because the last thing you need to do is join a team and quit in the middle of the season because you can't handle the time commitment. And so I guess my biggest piece of advice would be to, understand the level of commitment that you're willing to put in and understand if college athletics is for you.
Good students, good athletes generally have really good time management. You almost just can't do it without it. What's your time management tip for people, Lauren?
I have a planner, and all of my classes and softball schedule, it's all color-coded, and that's probably to the extreme. Like, probably not everybody wants to color-code their life, but it really helps me lay it all out and be able to look at what I have due when and where I have to be when. So,
Cam, how about you? Do you have color-coded planner, or how do you do it?
Not color-coded. I do have a planner that I do my schoolwork, or I plan my schoolwork on that planner. But sometimes when I feel like there's just so much going on, I will literally get in my notes app before I go to bed the night before and write out everything. That starts with wake up, get yourself ready, like make your coffee, whatever it may be. I draw out everything, and then that next day I'll go on after I complete the task, erase it, and it just makes me know that I have everything lined up the way it needs to be. I'm accomplishing what I need to that day, and just making sure I don't miss anything.
Yes, that feeling of satisfaction when you check it off or erase it, that can be pretty important. Okay, book, movie, TV, podcasts. Let's give the people a recommendation to send them out the door. Lauren, what are you reading or listening to?
I was locked into the A Court of Thorns and Roses series this summer, and I've sort of hit a lull and I can't finish the 5th book, but that series, I was like staying up till 2 a.m., which like normally I'm a TV watcher and I'll stay up and I'll binge a TV show till late at night. But not this time. I was reading until 2 a.m. So Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Very good.
Okay, good one. Not that I've read it, but I'm sure it's good. I never, when I ask people these questions, I never have any idea what they're talking about. So, Cam, how about you?
Me neither, Paul. I'm not much of a reader, but I will say right now, me and my roommates are on a kick of The Survivor. So we have been watching episodes every single night, and it's pretty interesting. And actually, I've been really wanting to ask Coach B if we can do a Survivor Challenge instead of Shocker Challenge, because I think it would just be really interesting to see who actually wants to get out and roll in the mud and do some crazy things like that. But yeah, that's what we're on right now. And there's actually a new series a new season that just came out.
Okay, very good. All right. Lauren Lucas and Cam Compton, Wichita State softball players. The Shockers are in the midst of fall practices, fall scrimmages. They're going to KU on Friday. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Rick Muma, president of Wichita State University. Check out the latest episode of the Forward Together podcast. Each episode, I sit down with different guests from Shocker Nation to celebrate the vision and mission of Wichita State University. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for listening to the Roundhouse podcast, courtesy of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. We encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more Roundhouse content at GoShockers.com.
Bradshaw into Wingate. Wingate's going to dribble it a couple of times and throws it in the hands of Kuznard. Drew it away. Kuznard to Ryan Martin for the dunk. The Shockers are going to the Sweet 16. It's all over. The Shockers up 7. 3 seconds. 2. Jumper by Smith is no good. Wichita State to the Sweet 16.